Welcome, everyone, to the Speaking Up for Safety podcast, hosted here at the Utah Safety Council, brought to you with our generous support from the Utah Labor Commission. Today, I have with us Doug Handy, as well as Michael Stone, one of our program managers. And we've brought Doug on today to talk a little bit about safety. First of all, tell us how you are.
Doing great. I'm glad to be here, and I'll get better.
Perfect. Love to hear it. We'll have some questions for you, but I think Stone will have the first question.
Yeah, I was just going to ask, what got you into safety originally? Did a young Doug Handy imagine himself as a safety professional all those years later?
Did not. I ask that a lot of times when I'm teaching courses and things. I'll say, hey, how many of you wanted to be a safety director or safety professional when you were in kindergarten? And nobody, no hands raised or anything. And it's one of those things you work your way into, but it's about taking care of people. And I got started, I was working right after I got home from an LDS mission in Nicaragua, Costa Rica, and Honduras. In 1979, I started a company called Hobart Corporation, and I was a painter there, and they said, hey, you used to be in Boy Scouts? And I said, you sure? And they said, well, we need somebody to run our safety program, and since you know first aid, you're it. And it's like, wow, okay, I guess I'm it. And then that's kind of how it got started. And then loved doing that and worked my way through different management things, but always safety was the passion of trying to get things done and just take care of people. That's what I think people need to do, is just be taken care of. And how would I want to be taken care of? How would you want to be taken care of? How would your children want to be taken care of?
Awesome. And was there any other careers that you were thinking of when you were younger that you thought, I want to do this for my career? But was it just being thrown into safety? That's just kind of what did it, right?
Well, I also have 2 engineering degrees. So I'm an industrial engineer and a manufacturing engineer, degrees from Weber State University, different things. So I've had other careers and I've done other things. But safety has always been the passion. Even when I worked for Barnes Aerospace and helped design stealth aircraft and do some other things, safety was still the passion. Because back in the day when I first started safety, you couldn't just be safety. You couldn't. That was just kind of, that's just a side job. You had to be something else, an engineer or a quality person or something. You had to do something else besides just safety. Couldn't be a full-time job back in the day. And I'm glad to see that's progressed over the years, the last 45 years. I started 45 years ago at Hobart, doing the safety there.
Great.
What kind of evolutions have you seen? Because you just mentioned, back in the day, it was very different than it is now.
Oh, way different, because, safety was never an issue with anybody unless somebody got hurt. Something happened, then safety was a problem. Today, the technology and the bigger corporations, safety is one of their biggest loss sources. If you go to a major corporation, they say, what is the biggest loss source you have? And it's going to be safety. It's going to be injuries, crashes, things like that make a big difference. That affect their bottom line. And so, that's a great tool for safety professionals to use and talk to management about, because it does cost a lot of money for safety and those things. But that's part of the evolution, is now companies are recognizing that to take care of people as well as a cost reduction or a cost savings type of an operation.
And you had mentioned that back in the day, it was we only care about safety when someone gets hurt. Right. Do you think that mindset is still pretty relevant today? Do you think that it's still kind of an issue today, or do you think that we've done a lot better since?
Well, I think we're doing a lot better, but I still think it's an issue out there for many of the organizations. For the more progressive organizations, or those who are more people-oriented, those who really take a look at an overall structure and a culture, safety is a bigger part of the world, bigger part of the planning process now. But there's still many things out there, many opportunities to increase safety across the world, even in the United States. Just so many things. They're looking at just the bottom line. They don't realize how much safety adds to their bottom line.
What are some ways that, let's say someone is a concerned safety professional, they're starting out and they want to try and do things right. How do you help them get buy-in from, let's say, their executive leadership who might be resistant? Do you have any advice that you would give to those individuals?
Well, the thing I always have thought was important is get with the top management. Sit down with them. Sometimes, and that's what's changed also over the past, 20, 40 years, is safety is now at a more of a upper level or mid-level management versus a bottom-level management operation. But just get in and talk with your people. Let them know. Give them some dollars. Give them some information. Let them know how safety is important. One of the things that I have taught in all the places I've worked, most of my courses, they'll be able to tell you this. I always say, what if this was your child? What if this was your son or grandson, or daughter or granddaughter? How would you want them treated? Would you want them to work in this environment? If not, it's probably time to change it. And, bring it more to a personal level and do that at the top level. Get that buy-in at the top level, and then start working with also the lower, the employee levels. You work from the bottom up and the top down. Safety is not one or the other, it's both to really make it effective.
Yeah. And with that, do you feel like sometimes maybe you're playing liaison between like the lower end worker who's actually seeing the problems and really trying to articulate that to the upper management to like really get the point across?
Oh, sure. And one of the things that I like to do is make sure we are speaking the right language. Okay. So if I was looking at you, Taylor, how many languages do you speak?
One.
Yeah. Okay. Mike?
One on a good day.
Okay. And I before getting into safety and understanding all the things, I would say I speak maybe 3 languages, English, Spanish, and U-turn, kind of things as you go through. But really, as a safety professional, you speak all kinds of languages because you speak differently to your manager, to the president, than you do to your employees. And you have to speak a little bit different to them because you need to speak on their level. You need to speak to them what's important to them. How does that make a difference to them? So that really is important. You speak a lot of languages, whether you know it or not. When I'm speaking to a controller or the accounting department and I want some new funding or I need to buy some new safety glasses or whatever, I speak dollars with them. I mean, I tell them the program, but I speak more as dollars than I do to the people. Hey, why do I want you to wear this? Not because it's $4.50, but because I want you to go home with your eyesight today. I want you to be able to see your child play baseball or whatever it is. So you speak different languages as you talk to different people. So there's a different language, but it's all the same thing. But you need to have that passion and just be consistent.
Great. No, that's fantastic. Would you say that driving a safety culture is hard, right?
Yes, it is.
Driving a good safety culture is hard. And like you mentioned, it does take buy-in. It does talking to people in the language they understand. How can a company or one person build that culture effectively, maybe with only some buy-in or maybe with only some people agreeing? Is there a way that you can really help shift culture and then show that shift?
Sure. And the first thing you do is set your vision. What do you want to accomplish? What is the vision out there you want to do? Are you trying to eliminate risk? You're trying to eliminate injuries? What are you trying to do? And then the thing you want to do is start building with the people, with either management and the employees. Set up, your safety committees and different things you have, but really get somebody else to buy in with you. Show them how it works. Invite people to help you. So that's really what you want to do is invite them to be part of the process. Hey, I need your help. And, when I've had different managers and different things who have been a little bit less supportive in things, I was trying to get an ergonomics system in place, and they were getting a lot of pushback. Ergonomics wasn't not too much of a thing. So, I would pick out one of my managers during a meeting or something. Hey, can you come up and help me with something? And so they'd come up, and then I'd ask them, okay, I want you to just hold this coffee cup straight out here. Then I'd go around talking, and pretty quick there, it's getting, it's just trying to get them bought into what ergonomics looks like and how it fits into their process. And so after a while, they couldn't do it. Then I'd have another one come up and say, hey, why don't you just hold it right here? And they could hold there, no problem, no issue. So it's getting people involved, get them hands-on to make the process work. And that really is how you get that done, is involve people. Make it fun, but involve people. Because you can talk all you want, and they're not going to listen to you a lot of times. But if you get them involved, have them take a small assignment. Hey, can you help me with this? Can you help me show this fire extinguisher demonstration? Can you do something like that? That gives them buy-in. Even if they're not right away and they may still be a little bit standoffish, they've learned something. They see how easy or how effective it is or how important it is, and it makes a difference.
Is there like a certain level in like the chain of command that you see has the most resistance? Because I actually come from an industry where I worked with a lot of mechanics, and I remember one guy who almost lost an eye, like he almost hurt himself. And then the next day they're like, yeah, they're mandating safety goggles and these things are stupid. And I'm like, you're the one who almost lost your eye, man. Like,
well, again, it's part of just getting them to realize what's going on, because again, you've got to, sometimes they don't understand what's important to them. You've got to show them what's important. And it's always been one of the concerns that I've had as a safety professional over the past 45 plus years is that I care more about your safety than you do. Mm. And they, just get them to understand what you're trying to do and let them see that it's a win for them. Yeah, it's inconvenient. Yeah, but look at the benefits you have. And the other thing that I would do with a lot of that is I would have on my countertop or top of my filing cabinets in my office as a safety director, I'd have all those, I'd have beat up safety glasses or broken hammers or different things. And that would be things. And when people would come into my office and if I wasn't quite ready, they'd be looking at all this stuff. And then I could explain it to them. Hey, see this hole in this safety glass? That could have been in somebody's eye. See how this hammer broke or whatever, and made a big difference. So as you talk about different levels, it's a mix. But the way I found the biggest resistance is generally either the top employees and the lower management, because they want to do right and they want to just get things done and hurry up, and they don't understand what safety is about. They want to just get the production out, get the dollars in, whatever they're doing, and the employees I know this is my job. You can't tell me how to do this and make it work.
Mm. Would you say that, kind of as you were explaining, showing the safety goggles with the, what was it, a nail or something in them? Yeah. How effective would you say the kind of the horror stories are in helping convince people?
Well, if you make them personal, they're good. I've never really appreciated the blood and guts type of horror stories, but tell them a story that is personal to them or to somebody they know. Yeah, it just didn't happen down the street. Hey, everybody knows Phil over here, our machinist, and this is what happened to him. And you make it a personal story, and it makes a difference. And you can kind of explain things without, I used to use this example because this happened to one of my employees. He had something that wasn't work related, but had like a blister underneath his fingernail. And he decided, I'm going to just take my drill press and just going to relieve the pressure, and he didn't realize, and it went right through his finger. So you can do that without getting blood and guts. You can tell them things and get that emotional buy-in without making it too graphic, but it makes a big difference. So if you're going to use stories and things, use personal stories or things that either affect you or the people that you're working with, because that'll have that emotional buy-in. And once they get the emotional buy-in, you win the game. Because once they get that emotional buy-in, they feel something different, they will change the way that they're doing things.
Changing gears just a tiny bit, I want to kind of chat a little bit about your service mission in Australia. Tell us a little bit about that. Tell us what your role is and what you did.
Well, my wife and I served a mission for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints as a senior couple, and we served as the very first health, safety, environmental international missionaries that the church had. There's, 70, 80,000 missionaries probably 20,000 senior missionaries out there, but we were the first ones that went over there. And we went over there and helped set up programs that would help not only, and we brought those back here, and they're used all over the church worldwide, but we went over there to help set up things and let people know what risk is like. Because you get in different countries, it is different. The risks are different. The layout is different. The environment's different. The construction's different. Everything is just a different ball game. Australia is a little bit different in the fact that they have a requirement that says every person who has somebody working for them, whether it's a church or a company, whoever, has to have what they call a job safety analysis or a job hazard analysis, depending on, and they call them risk registers over there. So, which basically says, here are the tasks, and here are the hazards of those tasks, and then here are the controls you're going to put in place to minimize or mitigate those hazards. And there's a requirement over there to do that. So we were able to, over there in Australia, my wife and I put together over 1,200 risk registers for jobs that were being done in the church and by different entities of the church, and just general workers over there. And it was able to be used there, as well as we helped identify and put together some really good bicycle safety programs that are now being adopted more worldwide rather than just in a general area, and also helped set up some driving programs. Church has a great driving program, great safety system. We just helped refine a lot of those things to take them from this level to maybe a next level up or two, and make a big difference. So, but teaching missionaries or 18-year-old kids, even adults who are 50, 60, 70 coming over, teaching them how to drive on the opposite side of the road, from the opposite side of the car, on narrow streets. It was a different opportunity, but we had some of those assignments as we were over there to just make a difference. But we did a lot of hands-on. We didn't just say, hey, we think this is what you do. We went out and worked with the people and got exactly what they did for each one of those tasks, for those job safety analysis or risk registers. So we knew the job, and then we had them review it and say, does this look correct? Does this not? Because whatever you have, it's got to be validated. You can't just throw something out there and from behind your desk, your ivory tower, and life is great. You go down there and work with the people.
And do we have anything similar to like a risk register here in the United States? Is that a requirement, or is it just
we have nice? Job hazard analysis, job safety analysis, and a lot of companies use them. The more progressive companies use them a lot. They are not required by OSHA law here. Worker health and safety processes in Australia and New Zealand require those for everything. That is a great idea, and OSHA here would love everybody to do that, but it's not a mandate, not a requirement. But I put those together also for quite a few companies in my career before serving a mission, in the aerospace companies, in manufacturing companies, and even in the nuclear industry, they have those. In fact, in a lot of the places in the nuclear industry, you have a job hazard analysis, and before you do that job, every day you have to read through it and sign off that you've done that. Of course, if you make a mistake in a lot of the nuclear industries, there's a little bit more devastation than maybe.
Really, I had no idea.
Okay, so and if you start the job and then tomorrow you finish the job, you have to tomorrow before you do the job again. You have to, every time you do that job, you have to reread the risk register or the job safety analysis and sign it off that you understand what the procedures are, what the controls are, and what the hazards and how you're going to mitigate them.
Wow. And just out of curiosity, I guess, why Australia? Do you have any insight as to why the church had picked Australia specifically for this?
Well, Australia, like I said, they have actually more stringent laws in many cases than OSHA. And the church just says, if we go over there and we start with the most stringent laws, we can roll that out. So those same risk registers, a lot of the things that we put together for Australia are being used church-wide. or worldwide. So it's pretty awesome.
Awesome.
Pretty awesome.
What would you say is something that, other than maybe that particular example, what would you say is something that you kind of wish we would bring here to America?
Well, they have some a little bit different technology over there for different things that, like their GPS. When you drive down the road, it tells you how fast you're going, and the speed limit is right on the dashboard. I mean, you change from 25 miles an hour to 40 miles an hour. It changes. There's a little icon in your dashboard that pops up. So there's just more information. There's, they have a lot of great things over there. There's a lot of things that I definitely prefer here in the United States over Australia, but they do have some things like that that's just, I think, would help us just get more information and be better at our driving and things, because, vehicle crashes are one of the most deadly types of things for both industries as well as just general.
And speaking of lack of information or more information, do you think that if safety training was more required here in the United States and more people are aware of their day-to-day hazards, that we would see a sharp decline as far as actual incidents are concerned?
Well, I think there's a pretty good legislation out there and things right now. OSHA requires a lot of the training. I think the quality of the training needs to be enhanced. I think there's a lot of training right now, in my opinion, that is, you look at it and you could be sleeping the whole thing and the video got over, I'm done. But, so there's got to be some kind of validation. And that's what most of the companies and OSHA and a lot of people are working towards, just trying to get more validation. So when you're being trained, you have some kind of validation that you maybe got something out of it, or at least understand the basics or the principles before that happens. And I think if that training can just be better, and again, the more hands-on, the better off you're going to be whenever that's possible.
And, speaking of, more hands-on stuff, we've seen from things since the COVID-19 pandemic that we've had a lot of shift toward online training, toward just other methods of training that are not in person, that a lot of companies seem to enjoy because it doesn't cost them as much to send people physically to a location. There's not as much overhead. And we're starting to, I feel, see a little bit more of a shift going back toward in-person training. I know we have the safety counselor kind of trying to get more people in the doors. What would be a way that you can approach that, though, to companies who say, no, listen, I just need to get the check mark, off that box? How do you get them to say, you know what, yeah, we should do the in-person. We should be looking at the quality. Does it go back just to that whole idea of buy-in?
Well, it goes back to buy-in, but it goes back to, do they really understand the process? Again, I would go back to, if this was your son or your daughter and you were going to put them out there in this environment, would you want them to have this type of training, or would you much rather have them have this? So you start at that kind of level, but there's a lot of good training out there that is, and a good video trainings or modular trainings or CDs or, all kinds of electronic trainings, which are very good. The thing that I think needs to happen across the board is just you validate that somehow. You have a mentor, or the first time Taylor goes out to go out there and work around this welding equipment, does he know what he's doing? Have somebody monitor that, and it's signed off, or at least have it verified that, yeah, we're in the right place, we've got the right things going. There's a lot of great things, and I know the Safety Council here does a lot of great training. A lot of your training here, a lot of it is electronic or different things, but you have a lot of great in-person training, which is great. Some of the greatest training here. I've always appreciated the Utah Safety Council for what you do and how the training processes go here. And I've been a trainer here for about 25 years, and I've just appreciated doing that on part-time, just coming in and doing that. But the training just needs to be validated as you go through the process. No matter how it's done, even if it's done in person, still needs somebody to look at the first couple of times that person does this and make sure they're right. Because some of those hazards and things people still don't understand. You sit in the classroom or a orientation for 6 or 8 hours, and then the next day you're out on the job, and do you really know what the hazards are? Have somebody, a mentor or somebody, walk you through that makes a big difference.
And in your time being an instructor, has there been like a bunch of like myths that people approach you with in safety, being like, oh, I heard this and this is what I believe now?
Oh, yes, there's a lot of myths and things out there, and it's just like, oh, yeah, I got a burn, I'm going to put butter on it. Well, that's not a, that's the old wives' tale thing. You put butter on it, and what does that do? It just seals that heat right into your skin, So you see, you hear a lot of those things, and it's just more of good education as you go through the process. And there's a big difference between education and training as you go through, and I'm not going to go into a lot of the different things on that, but OSHA even has a thing. What is education? What is training? So education is more about information, whether you read it, hear it, see it, and then training is more how do you do it? Okay, and if you do training right, we're really good about telling people how to do something. Well, first, we're even better about telling what to do. We love telling people what to do. Hey, I like to tell you what to do. Okay, so you're gonna, and then we get to better. That's minimal training. Better training is then you tell them how to do it. But the best training is when you tell them why. So that's what you need to get to. If you can get to the why do you do this, why that training is important to them, they will understand it better. It'll be a lot more successful. A lot less issues, hazards, and things going on out there. So we like telling them what, good. We need to do that. We need to tell them how, but we also need to tell them why. Why do we do it this way? Why do we push this button before that button? Those type of things to make things better.
Something I was thinking of was, you getting to the why of it all is literally the heart of everything. Why do I do this? And if they understand that, they should do it. And one question that I had was, safety professionals understand the why, but going outside of the workplace, in non-work related settings, have you seen, your work impact your personal views of things outside the workplace?
Yes, and I think everybody in my neighborhood can tell you that. I see people around my neighborhood mowing their lawns without shoes on or in shorts or whatever. Not in our house. No matter who's doing it, my son, my grandsons, me, long pants. We have safety glasses on. We have our ear plugs in. We do that kind of things, and we do that And one by one, over the years, you see your neighbors going to the doctor or seeing things that have happened. Then they'll come over and say, hey, so where do you get these safety glasses? Or where do you do that? My kids, I know when they were growing up, they were always frustrated because they couldn't ride their bikes unless they had their helmets on. Would not let them ride their bike. That was the rule in our house. The bike doesn't leave the garage unless your helmet's on. And not just on, it's fastened and it's there. And, they took a lot of static for that, but over the years they figured out that was a better process, and it was a big thing. So safety is just part of the way we do life in the Handy household. And my neighbors come over now and borrow, their bicycle helmets, safety glasses. They borrow all kinds of things from me because they want to do it the right way. And, we do that as well. I know my wife gets a little bit not upset. She's okay with it, but she's a little bit put off a little bit every once in a while because I will, if I see somebody doing something like at a McDonald's, they're hanging a sign and they're standing on a chair or something, I'll go over and say, hey, there's a better way to do that. Can I help you so you don't get hurt? And whether it's in Walmart or anything else, it's about taking care of people. It's about minimizing the risks, see what we can do to take care of people. And that's kind of what we've tried to do in our family, just try and take care of people.
Excellent. And if there was a brand new safety professional in front of you right now, and you could give them one piece of advice that will help them throughout their entire career, what would it be?
One piece of advice for a brand new person, I would tell them to stay focused on what you're doing. Don't let people change your mind for you on what safety should look like. There's a great story about a coach who coached many national championships and things in baseball, And when he got up to get an award, he wore a home plate around his neck. And he was wearing this home plate, and everybody's saying, what in the heck is this? It's about time for him to retire because he's losing his mind. But then he got up there and he said, okay, in Little League, how wide is home plate? 17 inches. Okay? When you get to the high school ball, how wide is home plate? 17 inches. When you get to college ball, 17 inches. When you get to the major leagues, how wide is home plate? 17 inches. And so it's about keeping that focus about, look, here's the basics. Here's what we've got to do. And there's different ways to get into home plate, different ways to do things, but keep that, just stay focused on what you need to get done. There's going to be times when the boss is not going to like your proposal, won't give you the money, doesn't know you can't start that program this week or this month, or no, you're not going to do this training. Don't let that stop you. Just keep on going. That training needs to be done. Those people need to be educated. Those people need to go home safe every day. And the only way you're going to do that is stay there. Your integrity's got to stay right where it's at. If it doesn't, once you lose your integrity, then people won't trust you. You don't know what's going on. So to me, it's about stay at 17 inches.
Stay at 17.
And
put that on a shirt. Stay at 17.
You win the game.
Stay at 17. Would you say that, with people losing sight and focus, I feel as though with a lot of advances in technology, automation, AI even, that there's sometimes we're missing some of that more human connection and element, but yet technology is never going to go away. Things that, we used to always be focused on, now we have other things that do the focusing for us. What would you say is the actual role of technology, automation, things like that in the safety realm going forward?
Well, you see that a lot. And even now, I was working with UPS and things for about 15 years. And during that time, there was a lot more self-driving vehicles and there still needs some human interaction in some of that. I see technology being a great enhancement, a great tool for us to use. But we can't let it be the tool. We've still got to have that interface. We've still got to make sure we're doing the right things. Because if we don't, it's going to end up being something different than what it needs to be. You already see that with AI. You can do all kinds of things, and you can even show somebody's picture and make it look like they're talking, and they're really not saying what you're saying, what you're hearing. And we got to keep that out of the safety world. Safety world, we got to use that technology the right way, so that we stay focused. We keep that safety protocols in place, and keep our people safe. Again, every person deserves to go home, fingers, toes, eyes, and ears every day. And we need to make that the focus, not just more automation. But automation can be a good thing. Automation replaces a lot of the physical hazards that we used to have to deal with, whether it's in conveyors or anything else. There's a lot of things that are better now, safer because of technology. We just can't let technology take over the safety world. We need to make sure we're focusing it and we control that.
And kind of building off on that one a little bit before we head into some of our final questions, what would you, in your opinion, what would you think is the most important piece of safety technology we've kind of made in general? Or if you could put your finger on the one thing to say, I'm so glad we have that now.
Well, it's probably going to be the internet, and I say that with I say that tongue in cheek kind of thing, because to me, and whether you know it or not everything you read on the internet's true.
Really?
Okay.
Oh, wow.
So you may not know that, but not everything you read on the internet's true. But the internet gives us a lot of more resources to look up valid information, and it gives us quick resources. And that technology allows me to, for example, I could take my phone and I could look up a report that I did last week on this particular thing, or I could do something else. So that kind of internet or technology that we have, that electronics, is a good thing in that way. But we just, again, it has to be controlled or managed. But that it's going to make a big difference. That's something I see makes a big difference because when I do my training, I hold up the old OSHA book. You've probably seen it. Mm-hmm. It's about 3 inches thick and real miniature writing, and it's lousy reading. Great information, but lousy reading as you go through that. But that's a lot of stuff to go through. And if you wanted to sort, it would maybe sometimes take me an hour to sort out and find what I need to do. Now I can get on with the technology and say, hey, I'm looking for, how far, how close can I get to the edge of a roof without my tie off being and all this stuff. And right now I've got 3 or 4 different resources available, or I've got the OSHA regulations right next to me, or my company's policies and procedures right there. So technology is a good thing, again, but we just got to control it.
And what kind of innovations in safety culture would you like to see as it evolves moving into the future?
Well, I'd like to, to me, I'd just like to get more people involved. It's about getting people involved. If I'm setting up a safety committee, for example, and let's say I want Taylor to be on my safety committee. And I can go to Taylor and say, hey, Taylor, you want to be on my safety committee? No, I don't, I don't really.
I wouldn't say this actually.
Yeah, it's not, okay. But if I really want him to be on there, how do I do that? I can get him involved. Hey, you're the best person we have that knows this technology or that knows this machine. We need a safety demonstrator. Can you just help me out with that? And getting them involved helps them, number one, understand the process better, but it also gives you another ally, gives you another person on the safety side of the world to help with everybody else, because there's always going to be some naysayers and things, but as your culture changes, there'll be less and less because you'll get more and more people involved. So to me, the thing I think we need to do is just keep on getting people involved in safety, educating them, letting them know how important, but letting them know how safety works in their world. And they don't need to know all the safety regulations, but what do they need to know? And make sure that they get involved in that and give them an assignment. That's what I do with a lot of my safety committees. If anybody out there who's been on my safety committee and who's listening to this, they may not appreciate this, but for example, when I get a new member of my safety committee, they come in, I always give them an assignment. I don't care what's going on, I give them an assignment. And it used to be the assignment I'd give them was check these 2 fire extinguishers. I already had a company checking the fire extinguishers. I already had all these other things in place, but I would educate them and, hey, here's what I want you to look at, these 4 things, and can you check that by the next committee meeting? And then about halfway through, I would say, hey, did you get a chance to do that? Hey, Taylor, do you get a chance to check the fire extinguisher? Oh, no, I didn't, forgot about that. Hey, I just need you to do that before the next meeting. And it became important, not that the fire extinguisher needed to be checked, it became important because I followed up. I asked about it. I got people involved. But now Taylor's involved. Now he gets to do that. And for who knows, the next 4 months, he'd come by and tell me every month that same fire extinguisher is in good shape. And all that's great, but it's about getting people involved and helping them understand the process and making it fun. You guys can, I wore my caution socks here today. You can make safety fun. You don't have to make safety boring. Get people involved by making it fun, having them do things that make a difference to them, and they will embrace it. They'll start being involved whether they think they are or not. They'll pretty quick, they'll be just part of the team.
Doug, how do you make safety fun?
You make safety fun. You got to be creative sometimes. So
okay.
So if you're saying, hey, there's a hazard out here, a couple of things we've done is, safety is nothing to snicker at. You give them out Snickers candy bars. Okay, you give them things like that. You can do things. I've had a program where we had a committee and they were trying to say, well, I don't know how effective we've been, in the last little while. So, hey, we're going to go on a Back to the Future walk. So we called it a Back to the Future walk. And what we did is we walked out in the operations and I had them, not me, them take note of everything that had changed over the past 6 months that they had a hand in changing for safety. That kind of validated what they wanted to do. Then we wrote it out, the whole list, posted it on the board, announced it at the next company meeting. Hey, here's our Back to the Future things. There are so many ways you can just make safety fun. You don't have to do that. If you come to my trainings, you say, I play Jenga. We talk about, hey, why are you playing Jenga? Because it's a risk. Every time you move one of those pieces, there's a risk. Okay, and some of them I've got, my Jenga game is two-colored. See, it's red and green. It's a Christmas color one, but it's, and if you pulled out a green one, that's something everybody can see. So what's a risk that you have done in the past that everybody's seen? If you pulled out a red one, what is something that no one else knows about but you know it's a risk? You can make it fun. And then everybody plays the Jenga game, or we do airplane exercises, or you just do different things to help them understand things. And to me, I want to get people to understand things. So I get them to look at things a different way. If I can get them to look at things different, I win. I have a bunch of dice, and they're big rubber dice, and people roll the dice. So, hey, you're going to get hurt today or not? I don't know. Are you going to roll the dice? Well, if you have the right things in place, you don't have to roll the dice. If you follow all your procedures, you do. If you're not wearing your safety glasses, let's roll the dice and see if you... And then you got a 1, okay, nothing happened. You got a 6, you just lost your eye.
Yeah.
We just have them do fun things like that. Just get them involved, let them see things at a different angle and a different perspective, but it helps them understand maybe better what they need to do.
I mean, that makes total sense. I mean, if I were in your classes seeing these things happen, I would feel like, okay, this makes more sense. It just feels hard to be creative and fun inside such a honestly kind of bland field. I've read, regulations from OSHA and all this stuff, and it's hard. But, kind of in your journey in making safety more fun for people, what would you say has been a proud moment that you can point to and say, that was because of Doug Handy's contribution?
Well, to me, it's always a team effort. Somebody's got to be leading the charge, doing the things. And, when I first started working with a company, I worked with them for quite a number of years, but we started off working with this company, then they were having 28 to 30 eye injuries a year. And it was because we had a safety glass program that no one was following, and it was kind of whatever, not going. So we did a lot of things. I got the employees involved, let them help pick the safety glasses they're going to wear. We had committees and different people deciding where they absolutely had to wear them, where they could not wear them, and different things. And so we put the program together as a team. And then over the next couple of years, we didn't have maybe one eye injury every 8 or 9 years. So we went from quite a few to not very many. And one of the things that we did was, again, trying to make it fun, is one of the things that I did. We always had an employee meeting every month. All employee meeting, all the employees would come in. The company president would give his speech, and then everybody would have their moment. Each department. Well, I talked him into two things. One, I talked him into, let's do safety first. And I promised him if we did safety first, that would start off every meeting. I'd keep it concise. I'd make it good, and it'd be a good process. Wouldn't waste their time, because usually what happened is safety was the last thing, and if somebody went over, guess what got cut out? Safety. No one got to hear about safety. And so to me, it was let's get safety first. So we just started safety first. We did that, and on this particular meeting is what I did is I had worked out ahead of time with the company president that I would start safety first, and when I finished this month's topic and started again going over next month's topic or last month's topic, anyway, he came up behind me and hit me in the face with a cream pie. Now I had my safety glasses on. And I had them on most of the time anyway, in meetings or not in meetings, just to try and be the example. But I had them on, and he loved it. He absolutely enjoyed it. I'd worked with him for that time about 18 years, and he'd know, and He loved it. He's rubbed that pie all over my face and shirt, and it was pretty crazy. And the whole audience thought all the workers thought it was just the greatest thing in the world. And after they finished laughing, after about 30 seconds, I took off my safety glasses. And again, my eyes were clear, and I said, next time something hits you in the eye more than a cream pie, you're going to want these on. So those type of things make a big difference. And again, I'm not saying everybody has to get hit in the face with a cream pie.
Well, if it teaches a lesson.
But it's about demonstrating things and making it fun, but getting people to understand what good looks like. And it's just about talking to safety. The last thing I want to just kind of we get a couple more questions, but one thing I want to mention right here is safety. Is it more mental or more physical? So as you're doing things with safety, is it more physical or more mental? And to me, it's probably more mental. I take it about 70-30, give or take. And so I have to know what to do if I'm going to do it right. Okay, I have to think about it when it comes time to lift this package. Am I going to get the right place, right position, do the right things? Okay, so it's more mental as I go through that. So the more I can get people to think about safety, the better chance they are to do the right things. So the thing I do is I believe in talking about safety. And, how do you know what's important to your boss? So how do you know what's important to John?
I just go and ask him.
Okay.
I'm old school.
Okay. And you know what? He tells you. And that's the thing, he talks to you about it. How do you know the safety is important to your boss? They talk to you about it. Safety is important. So always try and get safety out there in front of people. Different ways to do that. There's posters. There's all kinds of different ways. But just talk about safety. Just care about the people. The more you talk about it, the more they're going to think about it, the more they are more apt to be safe. And it changed a lot of things different things at Barnes Aerospace. We ended up going, I worked there for 20 years, and we won several awards from the Utah Safety Council and different things. And we went 5 years without a lost time injury. That was almost 4 million man hours without a lost time injury, and with every hazard known to man in that operation pretty much. And so it was pretty impressive. And, the thing that meant the most to me is when they had a celebration for all that, is the employees gave me a plaque. Said, thank you, Doug Handy, for helping us go home safe every day. And I've got a whole bunch of awards on my wall. That's probably the one that I cherish the most, because it was given to me from the employees, not from management, not from somebody else, but from the employees who knew I cared about them, who cared enough about me to do something like that. So it was pretty awesome.
That's awesome. Mm-hmm. And then tell us a little bit, what does the future look like for Doug Handy? What are your next steps and plans in the field of safety?
Well, I continue to teach for the Safety Council, which is awesome. But on January 1st, 2025, my wife and I again are going on another mission for Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and this time they've asked me to serve for 18 months as the safety director for the Polynesian Culture Center in Oahu, Hawaii. So we'll be serving over there for 18 months, but I'll be the safety director of the whole thing for that time. So it'll be awesome. But I continue to do that. We got home from Australia about 4 months ago, and just this week we have finished 2 to 3 times a week continuing to help them. And I finally said, got the leadership in place now, we got the right things. Call me if you need me, but we've stepped away from that because I want them to run the program. They need to own it to make that work.
Wow.
So that's kind of what's the next big step in the Doug Handy and Mini Handy world as we go through.
Wow. I guess, what's one thing you're excited about going to Hawaii?
Oh, well, it's always fun to go over there, and it's just fun to see the different cultures.
Yeah.
And it's good to see how everybody does things a little bit different. Minnie and I love to travel. I've been to all 50 states and have been to 17 countries. Minnie's only been to 48 states, so that's one thing I have over her is two states, and she's only been to 11 countries. So, but we love traveling, we love seeing things, but we love history, and we love just culture and the people. So for us, we're looking forward to going over and working with the people, learning some things, having some fun. Yeah, we'll probably eat a little bit of pineapple and stuff, but we'll suffer through it as we go.
Oh,
and life will be good. But that's kind of what we're looking for. So it'll be fun. It'll be fun for us.
well, any last minute thoughts?
I've got no more. Thank you very much.
All right.
Well, I thank you. And safety is the most important thing that a company can ever do, is put together a program that will protect their people, because it's their people who are their assets to make everything else work. It's the people who make the difference, whether they're going to be productive or not, whether they're going to be profitable or not. It's all about people. And I've been asked before, Doug, you've been working in safety almost 50 years now. What is your one-word definition of safety? My one-word definition of safety is people. How can we take care of people? Because I learned as a manager, I was a manager for 25 years, I learned if I take care of my people, they'll take care of me. If I don't take care of my people, they'll take care of me. So it's the same process, but it's just about taking care of people. And that's what's important, is people, because people will make things happen. And just love taking care of people and working with people. So thank you for letting me be here today.
Well, thank you so much, Doug. We appreciate everything. And that will wrap things up today for our podcast. Please go on to utahsafetycouncil.org if you have any questions, comments, or concerns. We'd love to hear from you. At the end of the day, it is about staying safe, and Doug is a perfect example of that. And with that, we're going to sign off. Stay safe, everyone.